girl, R.D. Hill, and I am so excited about today's podcast. Welcome to the Well Side Chat. Listen, this is where we have poignant and life changing conversations. It is all about meeting you where you are. I love the well. The well really changed my life. Knowing that Jesus waited at the hottest time of the day to meet someone like me so that her life could be changed and she could live on purpose. Woo! That changed my life. And today, I have my good girlfriend here on today. Listen, she is a prophetess, a pastor, a powerhouse. She is beautiful, she is intelligent, and she is on fire for the Lord. You would not look at her and understand her story or her journey, but I will tell you, if you listen, your life will forever be changed. I am talking about Shantrice or Treese Robinson. Yes! Woo! Woo! Listen. I'm going to allow her to tell a little bit about herself because if you leave it up to me, we might forget at the end. So we want to get all the formalities out of the way now. She'll tell you about her ministry. She'll tell you how to follow her and what other information, any upcoming events she may have. She will fill you in on all of those things. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to some and present to others prophetess, pastor, and my girlfriend, Shantrice Robinson.
Oh,
Yes.
it's such an honor to be on today and to be a part of something so great that God is doing in the earth through you, Pastor Anita. I am Treese Robinson. I am the founder and CEO of Let's Talk Lipstick. So anytime you want your lipstick to talk as a woman, come see me and let's have a conversation. I am also a podcast presenter too of Real Convo. So anything you want to talk about in life, we'll have a real conversation about it. But I'm the founder of GMG, God's Manifested Glory. And so anytime you need some spiritual guidance, I'm your girl also. So I'm just excited to be here today. For me, today is life after divorce. And so I'm headed in that direction, but I want to keep it real today with all the sisters and the brothers that will see this on today, that they will know that my life is still in a transformation stage and I'm just an agent for change.
Yes, listen. Life after divorce, ministry after divorce, baby, that's a whole show all by itself. That's a whole support group. That is a whole sermon, a lesson, a e-course because so many people we're experiencing divorce. I mean, let's
Yes,
be honest, we're experiencing some really tumultuous times and you still have to fulfill your assignment. You still have
yes,
to walk in purpose. So that I can't wait to hear more about that conversation. You see on the screen how you can follow her. This is
yes.
how you can follow her. So we want you to make sure that you understand how you can follow her. I'm gonna change the screen up just a little bit so that you can see our beautiful faces. Yes, because I don't want you to miss out on anything that's being said. All right, now let's get into this conversation. We are here for healing,
Yes.
identity, purpose, and power. And I
Yes.
know that it's all in this conversation. So, our four categories are recognize, reflect, reframe, and respond. And after that, we're going to pour in, and then you know we got to have our rapid fire. We got to have our rapid fire. All right, so, Trees, who were you before the world told you who you had to be?
I would say that I was a little girl with rejection problems.
Mm.
I was a little girl with love issues.
You know what? The devil is mad. He is mad and he don't want her to tell this story.
Yes, was rejected. A little girl who had love issues. I knew the love of a mother, but not the love of a father. And so at a young age, we were split apart in the sense of we lived in the same household, under the same roof, but did not speak to each other. And I was a little girl, encountering this type of rejection and this type of lovelessness. And so it grew in me as a spirit of rejection. And all I wanted, any relationship that I wanted to get into, is for protection. So that's who I was at that point in time. Before the world told me who I was, I already had experienced rejection in a life of no love.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful. That is powerful. What pivotal moment, if you can recall, would you say changed the direction of your life? Experiencing rejection, looking for love, wanting protection. What was a pivotal moment that changed your life?
So I think the pivotal moment that changed my life was going into the military,
Mm.
having a different outlet. Um, always, because I knew what it felt like not to have love, I always tried to give all this love to anybody that I encountered. But the one thing we have to realize is, are we loving the way that we're supposed to love people? Are we loving people out of our own capacity to love? And
Woo.
when you love people out of your capacity to love, it may not be the love that they need, but you
Mm.
pouring it on because you know what you were missing in love. You know what you felt like being rejected. So you don't ever want anybody to feel rejected. You don't want anybody to ever feel like there's no love there for them. And I was the one, I'll love you, because I knew what it felt like not to have love.
Jesus. Woo. Baby, listen. She is not holding nothing back. That is so good. Is it the love that they need? It may be fulfilling you. You may be given all the love. You may have great intentions. But is it what they need? That I
Hmm.
hope you writing these down. These are whole sermon series and e-courses right here, because we can think that we are truly loving a person. We're giving them the best of us, but it
Hmm.
may not be what they need. Ooh, that is.
Hmm. Yes.
We could stay there. We could stay there. I mean, because yeah, we could stay there. That's good. That's really good. You love a person. You're giving them what you have, and you're loving them out of your own capacity, and not necessarily what they need or what God is telling you to do.
Hmm.
Because we can be so desperate for love and to give love. Ooh, that's
Right.
good. That's good. So looking back, was there a moment in your life that you didn't think you would survive in experiencing all that you experienced? But of course you did. But what was that moment, and what did it teach you?
I think just looking back over my life in general, because, like I said, I was molested by my brother's best friend.
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced rape, molestation, and um, it's a broken place. It's a broken place, and so I hid myself. I hid myself. I hid myself from going outside like normal kids would do. I hid myself from being in crowds with men or even with women. Just I hid myself. Period. I didn't try and get to know people, so it made me become a person that was, I'm gonna say, just selfish. Because I was to myself. So that made me a selfish person, because what I could give, what I could offer, I wasn't trying to do that because I was thinking about myself. So at the pivotal moment in my life that I realized, I was 27 years old. 27 years old. And I was living overseas. And that was the moment that I realized, like, Treese, you're just going down a path. You're just doing. You're not existing. You're just doing. And it's a difference in existing in the world and just doing what the world deems necessary for you to live. And so I was just getting by. I was just getting by. Fell into a lesbian relationship, everything. And so it wasn't something that was a good thing, but at the time, for me, it was the best thing at that time. And I'm just going to keep it real, because I felt like that love and that rejection and that protection that I didn't have, this relationship gave me that
Okay.
and gave me that sense of security.
Mm-hmm.
that I was protected, that I was wanted, that I was needed, I wasn't rejected. I felt like that was my family.
Absolutely. I can so relate to that, Treese, because I too, as a young person, felt that I wasn't enough. I wasn't chosen because I didn't have my father. And I found myself craving a relationship of what I call my high school sweetheart
Hmm.
because it made me feel like I was good enough. Somebody had chosen me. And although it was an abusive relationship, physically abusive relationship, he chose me, and people fight, so it's okay. So that's how I excused it. That's how I got through it. And I know that pain, it changed me. It changed the trajectory of my life. How did the pain shape your identity, your values, and your choices?
I would say at that point in time, I had no value.
Mm,
I had no value, because I was allowing myself to be dictated and determined, by where I was in my life, the rejection, the pain, the hurt. Not to mention, I was a mother at 17 years old. So a mother early, so nothing changed in my life at that point, even to the fact I couldn't connect with my own child.
mm,
Like it was hard for me to even connect in that aspect. So um it wasn't until my later years that I began to realize there's something different out there. There's something that you need out there, but you can only get it one way. You
mm.
know, you can only get it one way, Trace. You're not gonna get this through a man. You're not gonna get this through a woman. But I had to find myself crying out to God at this point in time. And
Mm-hmm.
not everybody knows how to cry out,
Yes.
but I was crying out.
Yes.
But I endured. I mean, I endured such a hardship. I've watched. I was, like I said, I was in the same household with my father. I
Mm-hmm.
had older siblings. He was doing for them. They'll communicate with him, but me, we didn't communicate. It was so bad to the point that I used to say, and it's the God honest truth. We keeping it real.
Mm-hmm.
I used to wait. I said, wait till my mama leave this house. I'm gonna jump on you. That's just the place where I was at, that I was willing to jump on him. I could have went to jail because I almost hit this man in the head with the iron dustpan. So that's how real this thing is. When that rejection,
Yes.
that it can spring forth bitterness, it can
Absolutely.
bring anger, it can bring so many things with it. But I thank God that I still was a sweetheart, but hey, I'm gonna get you.
Right, right. You talk a lot in your ministry and in a lot of your teachings. You talk about seeds being planted and how experiences can water those seeds and they can grow. And I think that is so true and something that not a lot of people speak about. What moment do you feel those seeds were planted, everything fell apart, and then there was God? Is there a moment where you can think where the seeds that have been planted by the molestation, the rejection, the lesbianism, all of those things was planted in you, they experiences watered them, and that moment where everything just fell apart, and then you found God.
Yeah. Um, I think, like I said, when I was 27 years old, I I never forget calling back home because I used to call home a lot. And one day my mom said, your dad say you call and he answered the phone and you don't say anything to him and it's bothering him. And so in my mind, I said, oh, we never rock like that. We never roll like that. So why all of a sudden? But it was something. That's the point where that I found God over in the Middle East. And God would begin to talk to me. He said, listen, everybody make a mistake. You're not perfect, but I can perfect that in you. And so I started calling back home and I'll say, hey, how you doing? And it was small talk, but it didn't last long. But it was a step. It was a step to turning. to turning, to healing something that's broken. I then began to get sick, sick in my body. At that age, 27 years old, I began to get sick in my body. So it was something that you don't realize the stress of rejection and not being loved can also bring on sickness and disease.
Yes. Yes.
And I
Yes.
mean, it was like it was quick. It was so quick. I had a stroke, things of
Mm.
that nature. My first stroke in my 20s. It didn't hit me in my later years. It hit me early.
Jesus.
But it brought me and my father to a place. I never forget him asking me one day, he said, "Are you gonna die?" And I said, "I shall live and not die."
Ooh.
And he said, "If I would have known then what I knew now, I never would have treated you like that."
Ooh.
And my response to him was, "Daddy, everybody make mistakes. And I'm sorry too."
Oh,
Because
that's good.
I can't put the blame all off on him. Because when I came into the knowledge of knowing better, I didn't choose to do better.
Right.
I chose to let the root of bitterness and anger and hurt spring up in me because of
Mm-hmm.
it. So I'm just happy at this place, and we have an awesome relationship.
Ain't that something? So,
Yeah.
what were some lies that you had to unlearn about yourself, your family, that helped you to be who you are today? Like things that you were living, they were truths in those moments, but you've come to learn now that those were all lies.
So the lie that I'm not worth being loved.
Ooh,
The
talk about
lie,
that a little bit.
yes. So the lie that I'm not worth being loved because I went through so many. I didn't have a lot of relationships, but the few relationships I did have, it's like I allow myself to be abused emotionally, mentally, physically, because I didn't want to leave that person. I wanted to stay there. That was a lie. You didn't have to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to go through that. That was a lie. You didn't have to endure it. That wasn't your long suffering. That wasn't my
Mm.
long suffering. But I put myself in a long suffering mode because I accepted it. And I accepted it for so long that it became my norm.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a cycle. So my first marriage that I had gotten into, um, I saw some things, but he was a good man, but there were things in his life. And so when I identified what those things were in his life, I'm like, no, 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 no. Well, let me put on my running shoes and my skates and skate on up out of there. And that's what I did. So it even the lie was you won't have a long longevity marriage. You'll end in divorce, because you're this way or you're that way or you're not worthy of it. And so that was a lie because I am worthy of love. I am worthy to be in a long term marriage, with somebody who loves me unconditionally. I
Mm-hmm.
am worth the wait,
Ooh.
and I'm worth the wait because I've redefined who I was. It's a definition to my life now.
I
So
love
now
that.
that I understand there's a definition to my life, and the definition to my life is you gonna make it. You're victorious. You're more than a conqueror. You
Mm-hmm.
got this, girl. You can do this. Let some
Yes.
good people come into your life that can
Mm-hmm.
push you into
Mm-hmm.
purpose, push you into destiny. You're worth it. You're worth the
Mm-hmm.
wait.
You're
And
worth
many
it.
times people don't think that they're worth the wait, so we go and make covenant with people that we shouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
covenanting with.
Yeah, I like to say we the M&Ms. We the M&Ms. That's what we are. We manufacture, we manipulate, and we manifest. All out of season, all out of time. God is not telling us to do any of those things, but yet we want it and we want it now. We are a microwave generation. And
Hmm.
when you eat stuff from the microwave, a lot of times you're taking all the nutrients from it and you're getting that radiation and you get what you get. So that's good. So I heard you say that some of the lies was feeling unworthy. Um, Did you ever feel unworthy to be used by God?
Yeah. That's why I fought against him.
Mm.
I forsook him. He didn't forsake me.
So how did you push past that? How did you push past the feelings of rejection, the feelings of unworthiness, and all of that, and now understanding that you have a call on your life and being able to make the first step, not now walking in it, but the first step to go past that feeling of unworthiness to walk in purpose?
I had to first get rid of the identity crisis.
Ooh.
Yeah, I had to first get rid of the identity crisis, and I will never forget. I had started at a church in Chicago under the Archbishop William Hudson III. I started under him, and I was so timid. So in my mind, this is what my mind used to say: "Don't look at me. Don't touch me. Don't say." This is with men.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say nothing to me. And I never forget one day we were in New York, and the archbishop, he was talking, and he just put his hand, like the bishops will put their hand on your shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
and my mind was so gone till I was like, "Get your hands off of me! Don't touch me!" So his ministry and his teachings helped me along the way. It helped me along. It was like he was a true father.
Mm-hmm.
He's the spiritual father, but he fathered. You see what I'm saying? And he fathered well. And not putting him on a pedestal or anything or making him so high, but he knew how to meet the people where they were at and what they needed, and he saw something. And so there was always a gift there, whether it was me being able to decorate, me being able to do business resumes, credit repair. It was always I had so much wealth in me, but it was just a matter of somebody pulling it out. And that was the point that it was pulled out. And I
So
said,
how did
God,
how did those things help you with identity?
because it let me see that I was praying, and I always would pray, but my prayers became more effective, more
Mm-hmm.
fervent. And so I started just praying every day, praying, 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 because he had a prayer ministry. And so it groomed me into the intercessor that I am today, to be able to pray and pray my way through, and he would get up there and put you on the spot. Like, "Oh, here's the scripture, pray." And so that helped to mold me into who I was and who I was to become. And just looking at ministry, doing stuff in the ministry. And he'll send her out, let her go and speak on my behalf, let her go to this church and speak. So he was helping me build the character in me, build the integrity in me, build the excellency in me, build the love in me, because somebody was pouring into me. And that's love.
So, in order for you to push past the feeling of unworthiness and to reclaim your identity, you had a support system that was able to hold you up and push you forward even when you didn't think you were worthy enough?
Mm-hmm. And
Good.
it was a lady. She was the director over the outreach, but I was her assistant. Her name was Charles Steen. She was another one who, Tracy, you gonna be all right. And I mean, she just spoke life into me, because sometimes we need somebody to speak life into us. It's like a resuscitation, like a CPR. They're giving you breath when you can't breathe on your own, to bring you back to life.
Mm-hmm. So it's what I hear. It's super important to have the right people around you, because you could have been in that same situation where you had discovered there was purpose on your life and you still were feeling unworthy, but you didn't know how to move forward and had some negative people or some people that were struggling with their own identity, and you could have remained stuck and stagnant. But because you had people that had already worked through or were working through whatever they had dealt with, they were able to encourage you, strengthen you, pour into you, and pull out of you that thing that God had always had inside of you. That's
Mm-hmm.
really good. That's really good. So now, what practices, whether it's your faith, is therapy, counseling, journaling, writing, whatever that action item looks like, help you to begin to heal or evolve?
So I think it was my faith in God that helped me to evolve. Also, going to counseling. I would go and have counseling sessions, and it helped me to
Mm.
be who I am, and not and unapologetically being who I am. Not having any reserves for who God has made you. Because at one point I didn't even want to really show, how God hand was moving in my life.
Mm.
Because I never wanted anybody else to hurt or to feel hurt or to feel like I got it and you don't.
Right.
So I always dummied myself down to somebody else's level. But I learned that in life, you have to be who you are created to be, because you're going to die. You don't want to die full, you want to die empty.
That's good.
And that's what and having having life and death experiences. So I encountered death. I mean, literally died and came back.
Mm.
So even after dying and coming back, 4 times, it just gave me a new look on life. Live life on purpose, live life to the full, and do not die with the full picture.
Ooh, that's good. What do you believe now as we enter the reframe portion of this podcast? What do you believe now is your God given assignment?
I think my God given assignment now is to teach people the word of God, teach people how to effectively pray the word, not your own thing, not what you feel, because you might be tapping into something that could be witchcraft. But when you pray the word of God, his word will not return unto him void. It has to perform. And so just teaching people how to pray effectively, how to pray the word and being confident in it,
Mm.
because a lot of people are not confident in that thing. Teaching people the word, dissecting the word. Let's read the word together. Let's see what God is saying. Can you hear God?
Ooh.
Because he speaks. He's speaking through his word, but can you hear God? Do you know your voice from God's voice? So
Mm.
I heard the enemy's voice so many times. You know, you're gonna be like that. Oh, she's like this. That's the enemy's voice, putting a stipulation and a seed on who you are.
How do you distinguish between being busy and obedient?
So when you're just busy, it's not really gonna produce to the full.
Mm.
There's no production in it. You're just doing stuff just to keep your name on the roll
Ooh.
or to say you've done something. But when you're obedient to God, it produces, it has fruit,
Mm.
and the fruit remains. And you will see the fruit. You will see those people. People will come back to you and even tell you, you've blessed my life. Even you just speaking the word, even you just praying, even just your presence. Because sometimes all we have to do is get in the presence of people and they can change because of what we have.
Woo! That change agent.
Mm-hmm.
Unshameful plug. Change agent. Join the well. Under your screen. Listen, you want to be a change agent. That is so good. That is really so good. What have you learned about saying yes to God even when it costs you everything?
Ah, Jesus. That's that obedient part right there. That's that walking in obedience. I can just look back and say, I told God, and I even told God for a nephew of mine. I told God, I say, God, if it means my life that you give him his mind back, God
Mm.
do. You know, um, telling God completely yes is, it was hard at one point for me, just to give him my complete yes, because I felt like I had one foot in and one foot out, you know. But when I planted myself, when I got planted and rooted, I could tell God yes to everything. And even in the marriage, because this this year, now I'm gonna be transparent. This year, I told God, I said, God, remove me from this marriage and however you got to do it. I told him that last year. That was me giving God a yes because I understood it's more in me, and I can't please man in this season. I have to please God. That's my yes. My yes is to God. And I told God, I say, God, I don't want anything in this marriage to be a seed that it can bleed off on these people. I said, because I know this marriage isn't healthy. So however you got to do it, God, do it. And so I gave God my yes. I said, God, I'm going to walk in peace with all men. I'm gonna follow the instruction. I'm gonna do what you told me to do. And I said, God, you just do the removal. Whoever it is, you do the removing. That's me telling God yes. And so even through I recently had heart surgery, and I told God, I said, God, I said, let this be the pruning, clipping away. So some people have to go. And that's me telling God yes. And I'm not afraid of their going. I'm not afraid of them not being there anymore. And God had to tell me, He said, I was with you from the beginning. You had no, when you moved to Virginia, you had nobody. It was just you and me. He said, and I'm not gonna leave you now. I'm not gonna leave you now. I'm here with you. And I had to really, really pay attention to that. God is with me. God is for me. And He'll open up every door.
Who brought you, or how did you get to Virginia from Chicago?
So it's me testing God a little bit. So one night I was at my sister's house. I had packed all my stuff out of my house. I had moved out of my house. And I'm like, God, where do I always ask him this question when I need to know my next move? I say, God, what do you want? Where do you want me? What do you want from me? And he said, go to the Middle East. I mean, the East Coast. Prayer is needed on the East Coast. I said, okay, God. I said, well, if you really real about this, I'm going to apply for a home loan by myself. 12 midnight, bam, qualified. I said, okay, God. I said, I'm going to go a little further. I'm going to get on the plane next week and I'm going to look for me a house. Went, looked for a house. I ended up building a house in Chesapeake. And I said, God, here I am. Here I am. It was just me and God. Me and God. And I was so happy in that place. It's like I wanted for nothing. I lacked nothing. He was my source. I was dependent on God for everything. I was having seizures. You hear me? And still he was there. So we're never alone, whether God send a friend along the way, and sometimes he got to send an enemy just to show you
Absolutely.
what's really in you.
Absolutely. And you have described so many challenges, so many obstacles, so many barriers. There are so many things that you described that someone else would have just given up and quit and died spiritually or physically. But through it all, you still remain anchored no matter what storms came your way. How is that? How did you remain anchored through all these various storms and obstacles that you faced?
I think I remained anchored because I seen God's hand. Some people don't get a chance to really experience the move of God. And it was at that point that I could trust him in all things. You know, and then my mom always told me, she said, from a little girl, I saw an angel watching over you. Even when I was in that lifestyle, she was like, Treese, you gotta come out of that. God got something for you. And so I began to just pull on my faith in God. I mean, I'm not gonna say that there wasn't challenges along the way. Like I was asking God, like when God now I'm standing like how when is it gonna be possible? When is it gonna be my turn?
Right.
You know. But I'm rejoicing with everybody else and happy for everybody. But I was like, God, well, I'm standing here, I'm reading your word, I'm
Right. Hello.
doing what I'm supposed to do, and like God, when you gonna ring my doorbell? When you gonna knock on my door and answer what I've been asking you? But it's patience.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
it's being patient. It's being patient. And I learned a lot about patience, and that's why I have the patience for people.
Wow.
You know, the patience to endure,
Mm.
you know, even through the long suffering. I have patience, you know.
I ain't there yet, Lord.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. No,
And
ma'am.
not that you're not tested in your faith,
No, ma'am.
because you will be tested in your faith, you know.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it'll startle you.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
that's when we have to just say, we got to call up a friend, like phone a friend. Listen, today is not the
Today is
strongest day.
not the day, right? Yes.
Can you pray for me?
That's when you
You
need
know, and I
Aaron and
have those
her.
moments.
Hold those arms up.
Hmm.
Understood. Understood. What is let's see, one truth that you now live by that you did not before? What is this one truth that you live by that you didn't believe before?
I think the one truth is I didn't think that I could do all things.
Mm.
I didn't think that I could do all things. People saw it, but I didn't see it. So now I see I can do all things, and it's through Christ. I can do all things. And
That's
so,
good.
and even when I wasn't reaching out to him, when I was rejecting him, when I was forsaking him, he was still all things to me.
Woo.
But I was so blind.
Mm-hmm.
I was blinded, so I couldn't see it.
That's
Yeah.
good. I can do all things. Yes, that is really good. What do you want women who feel broken, forgotten, or unqualified to know?
I want them to know that even in their brokenness, they're worth it.
Mm.
Even in the tears, it's worth it. Even in the heartache, it's worth it, because it's something that you're destined to be, and that's a diamond. You're destined to be brilliant, but sometimes we don't like the process. The process becomes a weary place for us. The process becomes a faint place. So I would say, latch on to somebody who can carry you through, because sometimes we need a carrier.
Mm.
Our mail don't just arrive at our door. There's a mailman that delivers the mail. So if
Mm-hmm.
you find somebody who can deliver that mail to you and help you along the way, you need to latch on to that person, because they're your strength in this season. Where that you're broken, where that you're weak, where that you're downtrodden, they're your strength. And like you have been strength for me, through us talking and conversating and everything, just to look at, you were that woman at the well, but now you're giving somebody else a drink. You're helping somebody else to drink the same water that you drank from, go to the same well that you went to, that they may live and
Mm-hmm.
not die.
Ooh, that is so, so, so powerful. Um, I love how when you're describing not only the thing that you went through of the all things, but when you say that we need a carrier, because sometimes even though I believe I can do all things, I may still need someone to help me get through that as a carrier. Now, for those that may be used to someone enabling them and them holding someone and making someone feel obligated, can you describe a little bit the difference between an enabler and a carrier so that people that are users don't
Hmm.
get that misunderstood?
Yes. So when people are constantly pulling on you for things, it could be the word that's in you. It could be financial blessings that you have. You have to understand there is a cutoff point to everything. There's a cutoff point, and so when they're constantly, but you don't see where they're doing anything productive with it. You're. I always go back to the seed. You don't want to sow your seed in a ground that's not fertile.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're enabling them to be users. You're helping them to be a user. It has to be when you see that they're users, you have to be like, this is the drawing board right here. This is where we cut this thing off at right here. I've been there for you. I've helped you, but I'm not seeing anything productive come out of you. What is it? I've even asked people, what is it going to take? Tell me what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to. Well, if you don't know, well, you come up with a plan, then we'll go further. But when you sitting there and you're saying, I don't know what it's going to, why am I pouring something into you that you don't even know about? You have to have a plan, or sit down with somebody and let them help you with the plan. But if you want to do it on your own, but study begging and needing, you're a user.
Mm-hmm.
But when there's an obligation to help, people are grateful.
Yes.
People show you what they're doing. There's no secrets, there's no manipulation, there's no hidden agenda, there's no deception.
Yes.
You know,
Absolutely. That's good. So you seem very prepared, organized, and like you really take the time to walk this thing through, especially as a teacher. I'm sure that you have a plan and a systematic way of approach when it comes to a lot of situations and when Holy Spirit is leading you. What would you say your daily habit or rhythm would be when it comes to being well spiritually, mentally, and emotionally? Is there a battle rhythm? Is there a systematic way that you approach you use or a habit that you do daily that keeps you well?
I try and pray back the scriptures on a daily basis. That's my daily intent. Is to try and pray back the scriptures. Find me some word in the Bible that I can stand on for that particular day, and pray the word. Pray it. Pray that word back to God. Is there times that I miss? Yes, yes, there are times that I miss, but just having some type of structure, and stability in your life,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what you have to have. You have to have some stability in your life, so that when others come to you, you can you can you can water what's in them. You can help them to grow. You can help them to get to the next level, through research. Researching things out. You know, um, and when you call, like I look at it like sometimes we're God's consultants.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're the information that people need so that they can get through their day. But if we don't feed ourselves first, we have to feed ourselves first, spiritually and naturally. If we're not feeding ourselves first, we will become emotionally drained. We will throw in the towel quick. We would just not be in the place where God would have us to be. So I try and just learn the principles, whatever lesson I have to learn for the day. And then I can take that lesson and I can give it back to somebody else because I've learned.
Mm.
My mom used to say, bought sense is better than told sense.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I really like that. I used to say that all the time. Also, if the only time you are eating manna is to give it to someone else, then you're going to be malnourished. You have to
Mhm.
eat for you so that when it's time to give someone else and you have to eat more, you're not starving. So I love that. Yeah, I do. I love that. How do you define success now? Or should I say, how do you define being well now? Has that changed from what you once believed? How did you see well before? And how do you see well now?
Before I thought well was, having money, having things made you look like you was well, you was whole, you was all put together. But now I've come to the knowledge that things don't make you.
Ooh.
Things don't determine your wealth spiritually and
Mm-mm.
naturally. It doesn't determine that. But when you have power, when you have the power to do, to be, to get up that morning and to say again that all things, I can do all things, then you're in a posture and a position where that you're not suffering. You know what it means to be wealthy spiritually as well as naturally, and you're not sitting here waiting on materialistic things to define who you are, or people,
Or people.
because I've been in that place where I thought that people could define who I am. People could take me to my destiny. People could help me along. Yes, people can help you along the way. Yes, people could push you, but the ultimate goal is you got to believe in yourself first.
That's right.
You have to believe in yourself first. And when you have self-preservation and you examine yourself first, then can't nobody else just come along and do whatever. I've learned this. I mean, even in being married and ministry, both partners in ministry, I had to learn, Shantrice, you were somebody before that somebody came along.
Mm-hmm.
You had something in you before that person came along. They're not defining you, but you have to redefine who you are and the definition of your life.
Oh, that's good. So now we're going to pour in. What's your favorite scripture that carried you through the process and why?
So Psalms 107 and 20, first and foremost. God spoke the word and that he healed and delivered from all destruction. Because I had to understand, when you're broken, when you're bruised, when you're battered, you got to be healed.
Mm.
You have to be healed, and you have to be set free from that destruction. Because if you can have all the stuff you want to, have all the knowledge you want to, be all this that you can be, but when you're bruised and you're not healed, you will damage, you will sabotage some stuff.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
You will sabotage. And that's why I think he said not only did he put the healing in there, but the destruction, because you'll be a destruction to yourself and to others.
Yes, yes, yes.
So he had to, I think he had to add that destruction in there to let us know, listen, you can become a wrecking ball for yourself and wreck everything in your life.
What is that again? Psalm
107:20.
107:20. If you did not write it down, write it down. I don't know why you're looking at us. Grab your pen and write it down. Psalm
Yeah,
107 and 20. Listen, I love that. That actually is step 7 in the Ascent series. So the Ascent series has 8 steps. The 7th step is serve while bruised, not while wounded. Because a lot of times when we serve while we are wounded, the wound is open, we're bleeding, where infection sets in, and all of that is spreading. We're just spreading that all over the place. But those bruises, that scab lets us know that we've healed. And now that is protected, and we can now share with someone else what we've learned and how we grew from that, and so that they don't necessarily have to get this same bruise. You don't have to get that, you know. So I love that you said that. That's powerful. So if you could speak to the younger Trees,
Mm-hmm.
and younger Trees is sitting at the well,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say to her?
I would tell my younger Trace, stay abstinent.
Mm.
That's what I would tell my young Trace, even through the molestation,
Mm.
stay abstinent. Believe in yourself. You know who you are. As a young Trace, know who you are and be confident in that thing. Be confident in who you are. Don't dummy down yourself. Don't water it down. Be so confident. Don't be arrogant. Don't be prideful, but be so confident in who you are that nobody can come along and just um, sway you, or nobody can come along and just manipulate you or bamboozle you into any and everything. So that's what I would tell the younger trees. Know your identity.
Mm. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I love that. Whew. Know your identity and stay abstinent. That's good. That's good. You know, I want to dig into that because you said even through even though the molestation, but we're going to have to bring you back. We're going to have to bring you back to speak on the molestation because there are so many of us women who have been molested, have been sexually abused or assaulted in some way, intimate partner or domestic violence. There's just in some way, form, or fashion, we have experienced it, and we either stuffed it, it stole our voice, or we're just now being brave enough and bold enough to be able to share that experience with others. So that is definitely something that we want to talk about, and we're looking at having a panel discussion for that. So hopefully you'll be available, and we can have you to speak on that panel as well. What legacy do you hope to leave through your story and your calling?
I will have to go back to let's talk lipstick. And being that I'm a woman who does wear lipstick, but it's on your lips. So I would want to leave a legacy where that there's no barriers, there's no limitations. Freely speak what's on your heart so that you can be healed, delivered, and set free. And so when you allow for your lipstick to talk, you know, it begins to put a beautification there. You know, it begins to give you beauty for ashes. It begins to help you to put on a praise garment, and you don't have to feel like you're not worthy to be able to speak. I don't speak as eloquent as somebody else, but you have that confidence in knowing that you're going to let that lipstick talk.
I love that. I love that. We'll have to bring you on in a month or so to talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
Yes. So you can talk about what your plan. But we'll keep that a secret for a little while longer. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So can you leave us with one final word of encouragement for the woman who's tired, who's stuck, who's scared, who is afraid of rejection? One word of encouragement that you could give her.
If I could leave one word of encouragement, I would. I don't know if it would be one word or two words. Get up.
Ooh.
Get up. Get up.
Mm.
If you can just get up.
Get up. You hear that? You hear that? Sis, do you hear that? If you could just get up. Think about that woman at the well. All the other women got up early that day. They go out every day early in the morning to converse and to hang out and chit chat and all the things, get their water and go about their day. She, though she did not get up when they did, she did get up. And she got up, and because she got up, she met the Savior of the world, the Creator of the heavens and the earth. She had an encounter with Jesus Christ because she got up. Woo, woo. What could you be doing if you would just get up?
Yes. I got a word for that.
Jesus.
They would infect, effect, and affect the world as a change agent.
There go that change agent again, baby. We bleach. Everything we touch and change. That's the Holy Spirit. Woo! Listen. Amazing. Shantrice, I am so grateful that you have joined us at the well. I am looking forward to some of your teachings in our platform. I just can't wait till you are ready to share some of the great things that God has for you. Expect some great things from her in our platform, ladies at school. You can see the website scrolling down under the screen. We want you to join us at the well. At the well, we have daily devotions. We have well said sis. We have the Wellspring Weekly, which is our weekly power word. We have so many things going on, and it's only growing from there. I am about to release for free for those in the platform the first series, which is Own Her Story. Own Her Story. So many of us are afraid to tell our story. That series will be released on June 23rd, right after I debut my personal story on how I came from the woman at the well to the well woman. And I would love for you to meet us at the well. Jesus is still at the well. He is still meeting us there, serving living water, quenching our every thirst, changing our lives and propelling us into purpose. Listen, He is a God that loves us enough to go without food, to defy tradition, to go around the norms, social, economic statuses, and meet a Samaritan woman at the well just so that she would know that she was important.
Yes.
You can't Buddha. I ain't talking about the people. He's still on the counter. Muhammad is still in the grave.
Yes.
But we serve a risen Savior that no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through, He will meet you where you are, knocking at the door of your heart, waiting for you just to let Him come in and sup with you. Woo! I don't know about you, but that blessed me. That blessed me. But she thought she was out of here. But we got our rapid fire coming right now. So, you don't have time to pause. You got to shoot back the answer. You ready?
Okay.
All right. What's your favorite worship song right now?
Oh, Jesus. It's many of them. One song. Let me think of one song. Blessed. By John P. Key.
Okay, Blessed by John P. Key. Coffee, tea, or both?
Neither.
A book that, you have to choose one. Coffee or tea or both? Tea, okay. A book that transformed your life.
Purpose-driven life.
One word for the season of your life.
Press.
Favorite dessert.
I don't have one. I don't have a favorite dessert. I don't.
Like dessert? Who in this world does not like coffee, tea, and dessert? Okay, we're going to let you go. What's your favorite food?
Dressing. Stuffing. That's my favorite food.
Now, when she said she had an old soul, she meant it. Did she just say stuffing was her favorite food? Said no one ever. Oh my goodness. Thank you. That's what makes her so special and so unique. So really quickly, please tell us how we can follow you, any upcoming events or anything that you have coming up.
I don't have any upcoming events currently. I'm working on something in the process. So once I get it going, I will revisit you all to let you all know where it is. But you can find me at Shantrice Robinson on Facebook. My Instagram is also connected to it. And I'll give out my number if anybody wants prayer.
It want to keep us on time. Our 1 hour had reached. That's okay. We good. All right. Brought it back. Go ahead. I apologize about that. Could you say it one more time for it?
Oh, 312-888-1049.
312
888
888
1049.
Listen, we don't have many people giving out their number. But if you need prayer, if you want some teaching, if you want to just join Pastor Shantrice's ministry, listen. Come on. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. God is doing some amazing things with her and through her in this season. And I am so excited to be able to witness the journey and be a part of the journey. And I'm so glad that she decided to partner with us and be a part of our school community as one of our facilitators, as a prayer warrior, intercessor, and so many other wonderful things. So I am super, super excited. You can best believe we will be sharing all the amazing things that she has coming up. And we just want to see you at the well. So listen, sis. You listening? Do you have your good ear to the screen? We are in the well every day. We are there every day because we need fresh manna daily. We need living water daily. And God wants you daily. He has an assignment for you each and every day that He blesses you to wake up and see the day. So I want to see you at the well. I love you to life. And I know that God is ready for you. But more importantly, we wish you well.